Religion has made it look like sexual compatibility before marriage is a crime and all of that. So what do you think is the importance of that? Should people be sexually compatible before they go into marriage, or they should just believe in God on who they are going into?
Okay, so now we're delving into the area of morality and ethics, and I will tell you whose morality are we defending. Let me give you 2 points of direction.
Okay.
So religion has constraints, and there is an article out there about why if men were wired to be polygamy in nature. And it came from the source that, look, a woman only has 1 day of fertility in a month. That's the 24 hours when she ovulates. Unlike men, we can make sperm every day. One of the increasing causes of divorce now, all over the world, globally, not only in Nigeria, are 2 factors: economic and lack of bedroom action. Again, let me say that again. The leading causes of divorce is money and lack of bedroom performance. So now, if you've ever owned a car, I know you didn't buy the car without test driving. And that's just, you are buying 30 million naira car, 40 million, you have to test drive. Now, is it okay for me to tell you to marry a woman without knowing that you guys are sexually compatible? This is meant to be lifetime contract, lifetime commitment. And it goes on the other side. Let me tell you, one of my best days in my clinic is when a young couple came in. The man came in with his future wife, and the future wife is the one who booked the appointment. And she said, I'm not going to allow you to come and see my father to ask for my hand in marriage if you cannot satisfy me in the bedroom. And so far, you've not been able to satisfy me.
Seriously?
Absolutely. I was amazed, and I was, so I looked at the guy and I said, look, she is saving you of a lifetime headache. Because the truth of the matter is, we see a lot of young couples, part of their problem is they're not sexually compatible, they're both sexually inexperienced, and we expect them to stay together? No, basically, we are committing them, we are committing them to prison. And so now increasingly you are seeing people, they are quote unquote husband and wife, but they're playing roommates. And that's not the right thing. Because we know, regardless of your religion, sex is a major part. It's very important. So I tell people, yes, it's not about you defining anything. Do we know what our religious leaders are doing? No. Again, it's about you and that person you want to be with. So if you say you are SU, you are a church-going person, and you are dating a young girl, and she wants to test you, are you going to say no? And quote unquote, you said you are in love with her, you want to marry her, and she said, well, yes, I'm ready to marry you next year, but tonight is the test night. What are you going to do?
Some men will say no.
No, they're not ready for marriage.
Seriously?
Absolutely. And the truth of the matter, we have to face that reality. Honestly, you have only one life to live. So you want to live that life fully.
True.
And if this woman, you are compatible with her, you are in love with her, you also want to make sure you are sexually compatible.
Seriously? So you must test your woman or your man before marriage?
Me, I advocate, quote me. You are not going to buy a Mercedes-Benz without test driving. You are not. And Mercedes-Benz is not your most valuable. It's not as valuable as your spouse.
Some will say, what if people come with that description, I want to marry, just to test you and run?
No. So, okay, that is where we have what is like background. Remember, it's not only having sex with you. You must be ready to have sex with him too. So it's not the only one coming to taste something. You too, you want to have that experience.
Okay.
Yeah, so first of all, get that out of your mind. Like, Obama, she chanced me. No. You have to be mindful because this is a lifetime commitment. So that's why you are not competing with anybody. You have to have the mindset, number one, nobody should coerce you, nobody should force you. It has to be your time and choosing. And then you'll be ready, you'll be open to it and say, no. I too, I want to have that experience. Because he's not the only one choosing you. You're also choosing him. So if he thinks he's coming and then, hey, let him do whatever and go. You should actually be happy in hindsight and say, okay, I did not end up with him. Yeah.
So that means if you test one person and the person is not your side, test another person, keep testing till you get your own.
Because you want to save what is inevitable. You don't want to end up with a lifetime of headache. Because it's the same society that will say, oh, you not get experience and all that, that will be blaming you and say, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years of marriage, no picking. It's the same societal pressure. So there is nothing you and I do to please them.
If you do the other way,
exactly,
they will still blame you. If you do the other way, they will still blame you.
Exactly. So anytime you are faced with the choice of doing the right thing or being happy, please choose happiness. What is right in Lagos may not be right in Abeokuta. What is right in Abeokuta may not be right in Washington, D.C. But what is happy in Lagos is happy everywhere else.
There is no right universally.
There is
no one right universally.
Yes. So
like someone said, there is nothing actually good or bad. It's thinking that makes it so.
Absolutely.
Now, I want us to discuss, you talk about testing your woman or your man before marriage and all of that. So do you also advise that you should also confirm that your woman can take him before you marry her?
No. This is a good, it's a good, even for our society. And I will tell you why some sectors or some families demand this. Because you have to understand, we live in a reactive society. We're not very proactive. We react to what is happening to us. And so, because they've been seeing increasing couples that are not able to conceive. And so, they're looking at it like, no, make sure that this woman can take in and all that. But we need to take a step or two back and say, how did we get here? Let me give you a little historical perspective. Back in the days of our great-grandparents or our grandparents, our grandmothers were getting married as a teenager.
Yes.
Why? Because that is when they were most fertile. Now, ladies are delaying getting married.
Yes.
And part of that is a reaction to society, because it now takes 2-income household to raise a family. And because back in those days, women were not allowed to go to school. So the pendulum has swung back. Women are getting educated more. Bravo, I want that. I want my daughter to be educated. But what am I doing? I don't want my daughter to even start talking to any man until she gets her master's. So that means she's already in her late 20s. Women, the moment they start menstrual period, they are exposed to all their fertile eggs. The older they are, before they start becoming sexually active, those eggs have been destroyed.
Wow.
So by the time a woman is in her 30s or mid-30s, she's only left to about 20% of her egg reserves.
Wow.
So, put it this way. If I'm meeting a woman now and she's 34 and she has all my spec, she has masters and everything like that, we need to get going if we're going to have any child. Not that she cannot. They will tell you about some outliers. A woman getting a baby at 45, 50. Those are not common. Those are outliers.
They are not common.
They're not common. Under fertility medicine, we want a woman to come in before 35. By the time a woman turns 35, she's only left with about 20-25% of her egg reserves.
Wow.
So those eggs have been there since she started her menses from 11, 12. And they've been exposed to all the body toxins. So the older they get, the more difficult it is for them. And that is what is driving young men saying, my father said we cannot get married until I know there is something cooking. And that is it. So you cannot blame them. But again, I started by saying we're a society that reacts. We are not proactive. And that is actually what is happening. So we have to ask ourselves, what do we want? Because if you see a young couple that got married at 21, 22, especially those trust babies, if they came from money, and the girl doesn't have to get her master's before she get married, she's not going to have a problem with fertility. But if she's getting married at 34 because she has to get her master's and all that, even by that time, she's marrying you, but you are not the priority. Her profession is the priority. Because they've sent her to all these schools. She's got all those.
She needs to revert back.
Exactly. So by that time, she has even learned to suppress all her own sexual needs to get all those things. And she has delayed a lot of things.
So medical test is not enough.
It's not enough.
So that medical confirmations could confirm that everything is okay, but then there's a problem.
No, there's a problem. We see it. Right now, the best result we get from fertility clinic is about 30-35%. Meaning, by the time you do 10 trials of fertility, it's only 3-4 out of 10 that will succeed. And it's not the same for a young girl, 21, 22, 23. You don't need to take her to fertility clinic. You can easily score.
So that means once you become older, Because most people will say, why, like, if you come to religious angle of it, they will say, why should you do that test when you can just go to the hospital and confirm you guys fertility? If she's okay and you are okay, then what should be the need of trying to confirm all these things?
They're not facing reality. The reality is, even in the best of hands medically, we can only say, oh, our tubes are open. Now, what time is she ovulating? Let's see if she has any egg reserve. That's all we can do. We cannot go beyond that. That science has its limit. That is all we can do.
So that means with all those things being confirmed present, it is still possible that you could go and she will not score.
Absolutely. And the same thing now we're saying with men, because also men that delays having childbirth, they also, the older you get, your testosterone is dropping, your sperm count is less. And remember, with the problem in our society, we don't have access to all this water. We're drinking borehole water, we're drinking pure water. None of them have all the fortified vitamins. And men live under this sedentary lifestyle. We're under tremendous amount of stress. We're sleep deprived. All that thing is translating into low sperm count.